I think the reason they brought him back is because of his skill as a studio executive. He's come out and said they're going to pull back strongly on Marvel and Star Wars. He thinks they've oversaturated the market with way too much
and it's stupid.
Marvel. And Frank, do you have a pair of like go-to sunglasses?
I did.
What happened to them?
I have no idea.
Were they like bougie sunglasses?
You know, the first pair of sunglasses I ever bought were bougie sunglasses, and then the second pair I got were not so bougie, but still really nice. You know, went from Oakley Ray-Bans, yep. And then it was just $10 because I just can't keep track of them.
That is the story. One, you're just like my wife, so she cannot keep a pair of sunglasses to save her life. Yeah. She has some. She gets her sunglasses now from a company that does like $12 replacements. I forget the name of the company, but it's really smart because everybody loses sunglasses.
Find the name of that company.
Yeah. But
because I need that.
So I've had two really bougie pairs of sunglasses, both that I didn't pay for. One, when I first moved to Orlando 14 years ago, was working for a logistics company, and they had a partnership with Oakley, and we could literally order any pair of Oakleys that we wanted.
Any pair.
And
it was incredible. For it?
And they were paid for it.
Oh, you must have had the nicest pair.
Yeah, within the first, like I got the bougiest pair that I could possibly get. Oh yeah, they were awesome. Wore those things everywhere. End up on a jet ski in Costa Rica on family vacation, and they fall off, or my wife was having, I remember being mad at my wife. So I don't know if she like had them on her head and they fell off her, or if I think what it was is she like rode me off she like bumped me off the Sea-Doo or something.
Yeah, that sounds more like it.
And I just remember being so pissed because I had these sunglasses forever. So I end up finding myself in another situation where I'm like between sunglasses, and my buddy just had a really bad experience at like a Sunglass Hut or something. It was at Mall Millennia. Yeah. And they were like, hey, in order to try to like make up for this really bad experience, you can have any pair of sunglasses you want. And he was like, well, I already have my sunglasses. So he's like, James, you want to go and get a pair of sunglasses? Wow. So my buddy Mac, shout out to Mac.
About a
He's
windfall.
Awesome. Yeah. So I ended up getting these Gucci glasses. I would never, I wear gym shorts and flip-flops. Do you have any
pictures of you in Gucci sunglasses?
I had them for years. So pretty much any picture you see of me in sunglasses
I can't imagine
in the last 5 years is these Gucci sunglasses. But I don't lose things, Frank. Like I'm not you. I'm not my wife. I'm not like the typical person. Everything has a spot. I know where I put my things. Okay. And so I just don't lose stuff.
Yep.
And we're on this flight to my bro trip, this annual trip that I take with 6 of my friends. We're going to LA, so it's like a 5-hour trip, 5-hour flight. We're in the back row of the plane, so we're like ready to get off the plane. It's 5 hours. We're at the very back. Like we're having to sit there on the tarmac forever. I don't do my typical like check the floor before I leave because I'm just so ready to leave. And there's not a lot of space back there, so I guess my sunglasses like fell out of my backpack. And I didn't do the floor scan before I got off the plane because I was such a rush to just I got to get off the plane. And freaking lost my $400 Gucci glasses that I've had for like half a decade.
That will not be in lost and found.
Yeah, definitely not gonna be in lost and found. It's crazy because it's probably been more than 5 years, honestly, that I've had them, and they were still in impeccable condition. And anyway, it was really frustrating.
So you are like me and your wife then, because where your Gucci sunglasses at? Where they at?
I've lost 2 pairs of sunglasses.
I don't see.
And they were both bougie.
You know what? I like I said, had a nice pair. Not the best pair, but like a really nice pair. It was like discount Ray-Bans you find at the outlets, like $100. And lost those. Found Oakleys, lost those. And after that, I was like, you know what? If I really need sunglasses, I'm just going to go to Walmart or go to the 7-Eleven.
I ended up finding, I found like a $30 pair in a Los Angeles gas station.
Gas stations are where it's at.
I bet anywhere else they'd be $10.
They have nice sunglasses for $10, $20. Yep. But I tell you what I do now, because I don't have any sunglasses. Mine either break or they get lost, and so I just forget sunglasses. What I do now, I have transition lenses on my glasses. And since my insurance covers most of the payments on it, I'm getting them half 60% off. So now I have 2 pairs of Oakleys, 2 pairs of Ray-Bans, transition, and I can actually see. The problem is if I just want sunglasses and I have my contacts in, I'm out of luck. But anytime I want to rock the glasses, like I'm outside, I just stare at the sun for like 3 or 4 seconds and bam, rocking it.
I love it.
Oh yeah,
I love it. All right, so I want to talk about this article from Orlando Business Journal. It's a story that I've been hearing about, but this article did a really good job. So, title of the article from Orlando Business Journal: Disney CEO Bob Iger sees opportunity to turbocharge theme park growth. So basically, opening up the article, so we all know Bob Iger extended his contract with Disney. He came out of retirement, I don't know, what was that, a year and a half ago or something? Came out of retirement, took over for Chapek, which everybody hated.
Well, you know what? People are fickle though, because when Bob left,
they were like, "Get out of here! Get out of here!"
Stock prices went up, and then this dude comes in.
This guy,
this douche Bigelow, just goes down the drain, and people are like, "Where is we miss Bob?" It's like, "Oh, I thought you hated him." And now he's back. Stock prices going back up.
Just so July 12th, he extends his contract through 2026, and I'm really excited about this, actually. He has come out and said that park ticket prices are too high.
They are.
So we should expect to see that coming down soon. Have you seen the stock price of Disney? We should put it up on the screen. But
put that up. Where is it at?
The stock price of Disney over the last few years has been absolutely abysmal.
Well, you know what? That's indicative of the presence. Like if you look at the ticket sales, there's actually a website out there, right? Not a net website, but an article out saying like Disney's a ghost town basically, because it's super hot and people are don't want to pay that much money, and you can go to the resorts or Disney Springs or all these other knockoff places around for much less. And holy crap, it went from 200 to 80.
And it's still like
in one year.
When did he come back? Was it like mid 2022?
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if it was correlated with this bump right here in August of 2022.
Well, he's keeping them from tanking.
So they're sky high here. It looks like 2021. They're crushing it.
Dude, when I was 11 years old, my dad was teaching me the values of earning money and being a man. And I had a landscaping business when I was 12 years old. F. Bailey Inc.
Love it.
It was great. But he was teaching me, he's like, hey, you need to invest your money. And so 12 years old, I had 3 shares of Disney stock at $35. And I'm like, this is kind of expensive. 12-year-old me. And my dad's like, well, if you don't want it, you can sell it. I really wish he would have told me to hold on to that or double down, the values of long-term versus short-term investing. But like, even now with it just plummeting after Disney screwed the pooch. And to be honest, the company culture, people are saying, have been changing. There's people who've been there 10, 20, 30 years that are voluntarily leaving. And so he's got a lot of work to do at that point. I think he's doing it the right way. You start with the customer in mind, right? Let's lower the ticket prices, make it more equitable for the families. Let's get them excited about coming back in. I mean,
but here's the other thing he's doing. And I think the reason they brought him back is because of his skill as a studio executive. So he's come out and said they're going to pull back strongly on Marvel and Star Wars. He thinks they've oversaturated the market with way too much Marvel and Star Wars IP.
Some of it's cool, right? I mean, Mandalorian was awesome.
But you lose track of it. It feels like, I didn't go see Ant-Man. There's been several late, more recent Marvel.
Don't even know their names of
that I haven't gone to see, and that's unfortunate because that was such an iconic.
Dude, that's something that DC did to try to keep up with Marvel, and it didn't work. And you look at Netflix; they have all these DC sideshows and stuff trying to build the universe, and Disney's building a universe that has just rocked our universe. And it's like, no need to do that. Like, pull back, let people saturate what you've put down. It's like you oversalted the pork. Like let it sit for a little bit. I think it's a good move. And I didn't know that he was the CEO of like global Disney, like Disney. I thought he was just executive of Orlando Disney.
No.
That's it.
Yep, Disney.
People are complaining about his.
That's the other thing, man.
Like,
people are complaining about how much money he makes.
No, you know how much Disney he has to. That's ESPN.
Yep.
That's Disney Paris, Disney Tokyo, Disneyland, Disney World.
I heard somebody say he makes
Disney Plus.
He makes 400 times more what the average worker makes, and they were saying that
Average worker.
as I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
And
What is it? Lowest paid worker.
or lowest paid or average paid worker? I can't remember.
Say average. Let's just go on a conservative side.
So if we go conservative side and say average, even at that, when you look at what the scope and the magnitude of the decisions that he's making and what he's ultimately accountable for,
Yeah.
I might get in hot water for saying this, but I'm pretty sure he is well more than 400 times more valuable than the average Disney worker because of the position he's in.
Man, what kind of decisions do the average Disney worker really need to make? Like, how much do I need to smile? Am I pointing with one finger or all fingers? Let's go with even local execs, right? Okay, my decision is going to affect the management of this theme park ride or of these groups of parking lot attendants. Cool. You mess up.
Or this division inside of ESPN, which is just one.
A division inside of ESPN, not ESPN.
Yeah.
Okay, so one of his decisions that he has to make every single week is what ESPN does.
Yeah.
All of ESPN. The other decision he has to make, what all of Disney Plus does. And if he screws up, we're all pissed at him. Global economic crisis. And, it's like, he's not getting paid enough. He's probably losing sleep.
And how rare is his skill set? How many people on the planet can actually do what this guy does?
Yeah. And who's under him? Like, how does he hire the right people to manage these behemoths?
I mean, that's again part of the skill set. He's got and
that's a lot of trust.
And when you look at, I mean, he was the one that named his predecessor with Chapek, and Chapek did not do well.
So maybe that's why he's screwing the pooch. He's just not bringing the right people in the right place.
Well, I don't know. I'm confident that he is the right guy. I think Chapek, he obviously missed on that one, but I think the track record of what he did as a studio executive, the type of media that came out of his era as the leader of that company, I think. Is what he's trying to get them back to or focus on.
They're
quality
crushing
IP.
it right now with. You want to talk about bringing back the classics the right way? I mean, look at the Little Mermaid. My nieces, they're 4, 5, 6 years old. They would not ever have known about Little Mermaid. Now they have the dolls. They know all about it. Their mom, my sister-in-law, she was ecstatic. She was, oh my gosh,
I heard
it was
mixed
so
reviews
great.
on Little Mermaid on whether it was great or not great. I think people just have that reaction to anything because you're messing with their childhood.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, this is like Beauty and the Beast. Like,
well, that's one thing that my sister-in-law said. She's like, you have to go into it knowing that it's not for you.
Yeah.
It's for your kids. And then if you go in with that mindset, then the whole world, it's like not that. Marvel, right? You can't go in thinking that the storyline is going to continue. This is a recreation of something that you fell in love with at their age. So let's walk it with them and see how they like it. Elemental was incredible. People give me great reviews. I haven't seen any of these yet because I'm like, I'm not watching another Disney movie because I'm pissed because they've oversaturated the market. But I probably will once it gets on Disney Plus, and some of it is, I think that like you said, as a studio executive, you reach the most people that way. It doesn't matter if you buy a Disney ticket or not. You're watching, you're streaming, and he's making the right calls there.
That IP then impacts the characters that you have in the parks.
Yep.
And so I think his focus on we got to get the IP right is going to have cascading effects across the entirety of the company. I think he's the right guy. Looking at their stock price, they clearly need to do something different because they've been in the toilet.
Yeah.
He doesn't seem, even in the way he's navigated this DeSantis stuff, seems like Chapek was just bowing to bowing to the woke mob, for lack of a better phrase, where it seems like Iger is handling that with a lot more grace and seems to be
intact.
Yeah,
a lot more tact.
Yeah,
a lot more tact.
And so is not just kind of blowing in the wind to whatever.
Well, because you have to think
popular culture is screaming at you to do.
If they're going to create and think of themselves in an operational mindset as their own country or their own world, their own Disney world, then they have to communicate and go along with and live with their neighbor, which is the actual world. And people that love Disney are on both sides of any topic, absolutely any topic. And the ones that hurt the most, Disney has to take a conservative standpoint on it. They have to. I think that it doesn't, what matters the most for a company that large, in my opinion, I've never run a company like that, but this is just how I feel since I've born and raised here. This is basically Disneyland. Like Disney World has created Orlando as a top spot. There's hands down. I mean, the first sports team we have here is called the Orlando Magic because of Disney, right? And I don't love that, but it's part of our identity. And so I love the fact that they helped establish that. And what I think that they need to do is have more tact. Be more responsible. If you're going to be upset at political leaders for speaking off the cuff and ruffling feathers and being brash, then don't do that. Don't be that yourself. And don't stand for an ideal that only half or a third of your entire populace believes in. Let's stand for the customers first, then your employees. And then when you go home and you're drinking your whiskey and you're talking to your wife, then you can tell people how you feel. That's just how, that's how you have to play global politics. You know what? It's frustrating, man, because Orlando is a microcosm of America because we have the most red and blue areas that are right next to each other of any city I've ever known.
Did I tell you a post that I can't remember if I shared it with you or not, but it was from Ken Posick, and he was talking about how July 4th weekend had the lowest Disney attendance in like 10 years or something crazy.
Wow.
And you can see that they're doing all these, they're doing discounts with their resorts, and they're doing all these discounts that they typically don't do during the summer. And so everybody's like, oh my gosh, Disney's in trouble. They're doing discounts, which means that, I think to say they're in trouble is relative. They're going to be around for a long time. But it was crazy in the comments of that video because you had people saying that attendance at parks was down because Florida hates gay people and Florida's not a safe space for gay people and the country is sick and tired of it and they're boycotting Florida. And then you had the polar opposite. It was like people are boycotting Florida because Disney's woke. And they don't want the transgender movement infecting their kids, and that's what Disney's all about now. And so it's just crazy how I mean, you got such different perspectives on what it is that has an impact on this stock price of Disney, specifically theme parks. Obviously, Disney is much bigger than just what's going on at the theme parks, but I mean, it's a big part of it.
How they value their employees, how they value their customers should reflect into what they're providing for them. And that is a place for you a magical wonderland for you to be and have and do things that are not normal, things that are not in the regular world. You're coming into imagination land. Right. My favorite part of Epcot was the Imagination Station. Right. Disney, the Magic Kingdom has Fantasyland. All of the original videos and movies that they had and shows that they had. I mean, they had talking animals, and then people were like, "Whoa, these animals are talking." I mean, but like, what? And back then, it was taboo. It's like, "Whoa, what's going on here?" But it was basically, princess and a prince, and you have this classic, protagonist, antagonist. Things are looking bad, and then in comes hope. and then hope and a great musical song just changes the world, and then everybody's happy. There's really cool costumes. And if you come back to that, then people can tout and shout their political beliefs all they want, but you're there to have a good time. You're there to make your kids just blow their minds with all the awesomeness. They don't need to. If you really want them to be ingrained and involved with the political happenings of the world, of the regular world, don't take them to Disney. And if you take them to Disney and see it there, then it's like, what the heck? I didn't pay for this.
It's tough for a brand that touches so many people to stay out of that stuff. And that's why I think I'm bullish on
fair and equitable.
Iger.
Fair and equitable. You have fair hiring practices. But your bottom line is your bottom line, and that's your constituents.
You got to keep the main thing the main thing.
The main thing's the main thing,
and
man.
I think the culture wants to make the main thing the political agenda of the day.
Yep.
Call it whatever.
Yep.
Regardless of what side you're on. And for businesses, you have to keep the main thing as it relates to the business. And I think Iger knows that caring for the customer, caring for our team, creating an exceptional experience.
Yep.
His focus on the IP. I think he has a good handle on what is the main thing, and it's not keeping up with whatever it is politically that's got everybody in a tizzy.
You know what? There's a lot of outside pressure influencing their core values, and that is what I've heard from people that have used to love.
Well, they added inclusion as like a fifth key or something, one of their 5 core values.
But it turned into, if you aren't, then you can't. And that is almost the exact reason why they put it in there, right? It's like, didn't you put inclusion in here so that we didn't exclude people based on merit? So why are we doing that? Because of our core beliefs. Yeah, that doesn't make much sense. But a lot of theme parks have to deal with that because they're dealing with people and what they want to do to have a good time. Like Universal, they have Rock the Universe, which is a Christian band night for teens and stuff, and then they have Mardi Gras, which is not very Christian at all. It's just beads being thrown around. They've gotten by with like keeping people from flashing each other. Then they have Halloween. Then they have Halloween Horror Nights, and then they have all of these events. And you know what? If you don't want to go to one, you don't go. I know when it's like. And it's like a gay pride thing, and I know when it's a majority Christian thing. I know when it's a Thanksgiving thing or a Christmas thing or whatever it is. I know what it is, and I have that decision because I'm the customer, whether or not I want to join in. Now, the employees, they have to jump on the bandwagon that, yes, we are a large brand for the people, and the people aren't supposed to assimilate what you believe. You're supposed to provide them with the services of having a good time with what they believe. And guess what? They're all going to be different. Especially in Orlando. I tell people, I lived here my whole life, and they're like, oh, you haven't moved anywhere else? And I didn't have to. I've been all over the world because I've stayed here. I know the global trends. It used to be a lot of investment coming from China and Canada and the UK. UK stuck around, but then Japan turned into China, and then that's probably going to get cut off because of the international investments and the stuff going on with China and Biden and all that. But Canada's kind of converted as Brazil now. A lot of Brazilians coming in. And so I know that just because I drive down the street and I see idiots driving the wrong way, and I'm like, what? Look inside. It's like, okay, where are they from? Or you go to literally McDonald's near any park and sit there, or a grocery store near any park, and you just sit there and you stare at people, just people watch, and you listen to their language and what they're doing. If you have enough bravery, ask them, hey, where are you guys from? And then you'll have a great consensus of who's coming from where, and that's where we have our identity as Orlando. We are a transient community that has people that come here once, then they come here often, and then they move here. Then after their first summer and their first hurricane, they're Floridian. Like people say, oh man, snow's not that bad. Then they go back after being here for a few years and like, why? Why did I live in that? It's like, we're Floridian now. Yeah, that's what it is.
All right, man. Well, I'm bullish on Iger being back behind the wheel for another 2 years. I think it's good for the company.
I will see.
You're a little bit more.
I like what he's doing with the streaming and the online stuff. Well, we'll see what comes with how they play things out politically and in the parks.
All right.
Yeah.
We are out.